What's up, everybody? It's your boy GB, aka the Moonscaler himself, bringing you guys another video with Sir Splash. If you like the video, like and comment. Be sure to hit the notification button if you want to see more videos like this in the future. And yeah,
All right, guys, what's up? So today we will be reviewing The Rise of Skywalker. Um, on a basic scale of 1 to 10, oh, there will be spoilers, by the way. But on a
from here
scale
on
of
out,
1 to 10, yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 7 or 8 without context. With context, I'd probably scale it higher. I don't know about you, GB. You want to give your, just quick basic
yeah,
scale?
without context, I'd say like 6 or 7. With context, and character like interpretations, probably higher.
Yeah, so one of the things I've seen as a complaint is that they say, oh, the First Order, Last Order, basically Empire, was kind of dumb. They were stupid in this movie. If you take that, you got to acknowledge that they're stupid in pretty much every Star Wars movie ever. Like, I thought that was a gimme. Like, I thought everyone knew that, but I guess they didn't.
Yeah,
So
we
there's
covered
that.
this in the Jedi Council video. We elaborated on how a lot of factions within the verse can be kind of idiotic and make really stupid decisions that take away from storytelling.
Yeah, and the thing, the Last Order, you can't really hate on them for when you actually sit down and think about it is the fact that, okay, yeah, they got jumped on their home turf and they had difficulty because they couldn't really get out of there without someone leading the way. But they weren't expecting anyone to come to such a treacherous area like the Outer Rim. It just so happened that the rebellion was able to get a wayfinder.
Yeah,
They basically got Death Starred, like how Luke knew with the Force what part to hit. Um, they kind of got screwed over by Luke again from the grave when he had left the wayfinder behind.
yeah, yeah. Another thing about this film too, that I hear people complaining about is uh J.J. Abrams' lens flare. Stop. Like that is such a reach at this point. This is kind of like Michael Bay with explosions. Like if you're gonna go into a movie and you don't like the director, then just don't watch the movie. Every director has their signature, and the lens flare was not that evident in the film, so I don't even know why that was a complaint at all.
I don't even know really what the lens flare is about. That complaint. I don't know what the lens flare was.
Yeah,
Is
you
that
won't
like
even
a
notice it.
signature?
Yeah, like he does. Like J.J. Abrams likes to do a lot of lens flares where like it just captures vibrant colors as like it pans through a scene and things like that. But in this movie, you really don't notice it at all. So I don't know why people are complaining.
Yeah, Cyber, if you want, you can join in um, on this discussion, or you can stay muted. It's up to you.
I'm gonna listen.
All right. So anyway, going on to address the biggest bag that was secured by this movie, our Kylo Ren scaling. GB and I caught flack previously for saying that Kylo was already one of the strongest in the verse for canon, and because of his focused nature at the end of Last Jedi, would likely become one of the strongest. GB, you still feel safe in that?
Yeah, no, like there's no dispute anymore. Everybody's arguments were holding up to Luke and Sidious and things of that nature, but Kylo literally just in this movie just delivers Kylo on a consistent level. Regardless of the storytelling itself, in terms of feats, scaling, Kylo it holds solid. So, yeah.
Luke's scaling for people would consider like his more impressive stuff, which came from Last Jedi, was when he projected himself and was able to do physical things when he projected himself. And the strain killed him. In this movie, Kylo does that casually and consistently. Multiple times.
Yeah, and he's able to literally grab objects from other places, whether it be on the planet, whether it be in the Sidious's lair, whether it be across the galaxy. It happens so many times in the film that you can't argue that it's an outlier.
Matter of fact, you could argue Kylo. It would be a nightmare matchup in the MCU because Kylo has the ability to project himself to fight you, and he poses a legitimate threat to your life. Like, he can actually kill you and not even be present for the battle. And unless you can battle back, like Rey had the capability of doing, he could kill you. Because their like projection fight was destroying real world stuff.
Yeah, which is consistent with the rest of the film. Not only that, Kylo throughout this movie just displays mind hacks on such a high level that unless you're strong enough, and we're talking about Rey, we're talking about someone who is in tune with the Force from Palpatine's bloodline, right? He's mind hacking this girl who could see through his mind, which in turn could see over Snoke. And Palpatine still couldn't tell until the very end what Kylo had done. So even Palpatine couldn't fully read Kylo.
Yeah, and like, by the way, addressing the Palpatine thing, one of the smartest decisions to explain away Rey's random power gaps.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much better you could do in terms of how do we explain why she is so strong without being a Mary Sue. Being a Palpatine is damn near good enough. But just coming from that bloodline.
If people are gonna sit here and accept Vader being born through the Force, and then be mad that Rey is connected to Palpatine's bloodline, like you're really cherry picking at that point. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you got it.
All right, so when you look at it from this perspective, in this movie, it verbatim states that Palpatine was fully cognitively aware of the power Rey possessed inherently by the time she was just a little kid. And at first, it said like he wanted her dead, but then he says he wants her to be the vessel. But she had that latent power, even as a little kid.
Yeah. I know to go over too is like, it's just cherry picking in general with Star Wars films. Like, I get that everybody had like the Star Wars versus self. There's factions, and everybody has characters they like, characters they dislike, they don't care for, they love, so on and so forth. I get that, but literally, when there's characters like Yoda that exist in the verse, and nobody even knows what that race is, and you're literally calling a new character that probably has no relation to Yoda at all, Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian, and then you're complaining about Rey being a Palpatine is absurd. That is actually absurd. The cherry picking has to stop, or at least the bashing for no reason has to stop.
Yeah, and like, I hated The Last Jedi. The only thing I liked about The Last Jedi was Kylo. And I came into this.
The Force lightning thing, real quick. The Force lightning thing for Rey was kind of forced. Well, whatever, pun intended. The Force lightning thing, when she lets it out, I feel like that was unnecessary to prove that she's a Palpatine and give us the idea she's a Palpatine. I kind of felt like that was unnecessary, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that was fine. I mean, I think it was more so just showing the result of Kylo. Kylo was in her head rent-free at that point. And he forced her to display such a random burst of power. I think it was an involuntary reaction to her force pool wasn't able to neg Kylo's. Obviously, yeah, they could have done without it, but I think that's what it was a result of, just showing that. But just I think Kylo's was pretty much done perfect in this movie as a character. I don't know if you'd agree.
Yeah, Kylo was done perfect. I'll just go down like brief list. I think Kylo was done well. I think Rey was done as safely as she could have been done, and I don't think I think it definitely paved her character in pretty well. So I'll say that she was done good. Kylo was done the best. Poe was done great. Carrie Fisher's character Leia, she rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. She was done pretty good in the film with what they could have done with CGI and all that. Finn's character, who really cares about? I mean, let's keep it real. As much of a Star Wars fan as Boyega is, I appreciate him as like being a Star Wars fan, but like he has to know that his character was kind of like done injustice. He hasn't been like I don't know, like his weird I Love Rey storyline thing that he had going on was kind of weird. I don't know. I didn't like that. I didn't like where his character ended up at the end of the film. The Millennium Falcon was done justice. I don't care. There's no Star Wars fan can tell me the Millennium Falcon isn't a character. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, It's iconic. Okay, so the Finn thing, this was probably the best Finn we've seen because he didn't do anything. And he wasn't necessary. Matter of fact, I thought JJ actually was almost purposely doing him and Rose dirty. As far as pressing, like, they don't actually matter. Like, it's almost suggestive within... suggestive, but it's almost suggestive within the dialogue between Poe and Finn when he's like, yo, Finn, say what you were going to say to Rey. And he's like, it doesn't really matter. And that's actually the truth. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, like at that point, Finn just plays... I mean, you could argue that Finn plays a role that a lot of people play IRL, is that, like, they're just that guy that likes a girl, that likes a real dude, and you just have no chance. She's out of your league, bro. Like, that's Kylo's girl. And what are you going to do? Fight Kylo for it? Come on, stop. Like, I'm pretty sure Finn knows that her destiny lies, and it just doesn't matter. Like, he looks like, Finn really looks like a regular character in Star Wars that just somehow ended up on screen.
He just knew the right people. He had the right connections.
Yeah.
Like, I do like how Poe made him co-general because Poe's wild and Finn's boring. And he was like, this will probably balance me out just a bit. And like, Finn did serve to... Finn was, if I could use one word to like describe his character in this movie, he was a stepping stool to build upon almost every other character.
Yeah.
He was used to help define Poe. Poe was done beautifully in this movie. Shout out to my boy Sheem. Poe actually was well developed. And like, Poe had one of the funnier exchanges in the movie when they were trying to joke him for running spice. And he was like, yo, aren't you like a failed stormtrooper? And aren't you like a straggler? Like, we really going to point fingers? That was funny.
Yeah.
Poe's backstory was given. Poe was fleshed out more. He was good. C-3PO was very good in this movie.
Oh, yeah, C-3PO.
Yeah, he was... I mean, he had just great stories. And it actually made sense with context why he said, I'm taking the last look at my friends. Like, I thought it was cheesy in the trailers, but it made sense contextually. I wish they had done more with R2.
Yeah. R2,
like, I mean, they didn't...
Like, I wish Poe, like that's kind of what I was hoping for. Like, I was hoping that Poe would be in the Millennium Falcon, and he was. I was hoping that he would build, but he has that other droid. I forget what his name is.
BB-8
droid. Yeah, the BB-8. Yeah, he's like really connected with BB-8. But BB-8, that was another thing. Like, BB-8 doesn't really do anything in the whole film besides have a tree fall on him.
Yeah, He didn't do anything either.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
R2, like, the thing with R2 is he's the GOAT. They did have a funny exchange where they asked... By the way, everyone said the jokes in this movie were terrible. I actually thought the jokes were pretty well placed. Especially if you know the Star Wars backstories. Like, so they're like, C-3PO, we can erase your memory. And C-3PO's like, why? And he's like, because we have R2 who backs up your stuff. And C-3PO said, yeah, I don't trust R2.
Yeah.
He was like, R2's a goon, bro. He said, it's basically like me giving GB my server. Like, yeah, we're boys. I don't know how it's going to go, though. It's probably likewise, same way around. Just stuff like that. Like, it showed R2's nature. Chewbacca was by far the most emotional character in this movie. Like, you want to talk about a character that went through things. He officially lost it all in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I know that people were like, I know a lot of people were upset when they thought Chewbacca died. Yeah, I mean, luckily Chewbacca, lived on. He's probably gonna die of old age somehow.
Well, the thing, like, so for instance, like, I don't think people appreciated when Leia was announced dead. Everyone was upset, but Chewbacca lost it. And you might be like, why? But it's like, because Chewbacca's the OG, and that was his best friend, like his brother's wife, like ex-wife.
Yeah, like anybody who questions why Chewbacca was emotional over Leia's death, you actually have to be an idiot.
Yeah, like that was one of the more emotional scenes. Like Chewbacca's losses throughout the movie, he lost Leia. In ways you could argue, I mean, he even lost Kylo. It's never established how much he loved Kylo. Definitely didn't love him enough to spare him after 187ing Han. But
actually, yeah, that's something we missed out on. Like, how come? What is like? Yeah, that's a little weird. Hopefully, there's comics or something that go over that. Like, I wonder if Kylo ever had a relationship with Chewbacca, given how. But they say Han was never around. Well, Han was never around. So maybe.
Yeah. The Han Solo exchange with Kylo was saved by the fact that they do confirm during the exchange it's not a Force ghost. I know GB was concerned about that.
Yeah, I was worried about that. I mean, it wouldn't have been too big of a deal anyway because there were existing theories that Han was Force sensitive. Apparently, like there's a little hints here throughout the movie, and there's like some indication that Finn is Force sensitive.
Yes.
It's not really like it's not something that they want you to like know. They don't put it like in front of your face. It's just if you caught it, you caught it. And a lot of people didn't catch it. I did. But yeah, a lot of people didn't.
Are you referring to when they asked him, how do you know the Force is real? He said, I could hear the call. I just didn't know if it was real.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that statement threw people off a little bit, I think. But yeah, he's definitely. That's interesting, at least. Maybe they.
I liked what they
do something with him.
I like what they did with Husk. In this movie, General Husk, because they killed him like really fast and really blatantly. But it's just like he was a spy, yeah. And Finn was like, "Yo, it doesn't make sense." He's like, "Dude, I don't care if your people prosper. I just hate Kylo," which was facts.
Yeah. which is canon for any general that like serves under the Emperor or an Emperor. In the Star Wars franchise, Kylo was hated by his general. Vader was hated by his generals. So, yeah, because Vader ran through a few, I think.
Yeah. Like, what would... See, that's the thing. And me and GB agree. Both of us liked Batman vs. Superman, even though it's not heavily liked by the masses. But like just sitting down, looking at it, first off, Palpatine coming back did make sense, especially if you've read the EU. He verbatim states in the movie, I did die. But guess what? All that stuff I preached about knowing that the Sith had, I did have it. Turns out I did have the juice. Did I share it with Vader? No. Did I give him a false sale? Yes. Sue me. Now what? This man Palpatine's the definition of now what?
Yeah, exactly. The now what argument.
Yeah. He just kept saying, now what?
Yeah, I mean, like, people can't, I don't get, you know, you know, like, Star Wars fans want their cake, want to have their cake and eat it too. It's like, you want Palpatine back, but then when he comes back, you argue about how he came back, even though it makes sense. You want Rey to have a backstory that explains her power. They give you that, and then it makes sense. You don't like it still. You want Kylo to be above Rey like he is, or should be, through portrayal. He is, and then people complain about it. And I think that it's important for future Star Wars films that people who are in the middle, that are undecided, that are viewing these critics rant about this film from the outside, know that this is how the fan base is, and you shouldn't predicate what you believe on what you feel on the movie based on what other fans say about it, because these are how fan bases are these days. They're very flimsy.
Yeah.
And
if you go in, look at it this way. If you go in, and I went to the movie, one of the people I went to the movie with was just a neutral observer, grew up with the originals, has seen the new ones, hated the new ones, but they didn't come in expecting to nitpick, waiting to nitpick. Saw the movie and they said it's amazing. They said I felt like I could go into that movie without any prior knowledge and just have a blast. And it's a fun movie, nonstop.
Yeah, and another thing too is, like I said, it's better to just watch there are so many people that the moment the trailer drops, like, they were either the extreme of happy or the extreme of salty, and it's just that really ruins experiences for other people. And I get it, you know, being mad or whatever because spoilers. I was really upset, but I still went in and I gave the movie a shot, and I think everybody should. If you haven't seen it already, you definitely should. It was worth the watch. Yeah.
And here's another thing, too. For anyone that now complains, why would you bring Palpatine back to be the final villain? First off, it began and ended with Palpatine. So it's perfectly reasonable to bring him back. Also, for people that complained about, oh, he said, you know, he was Snoke the whole time. That's so stupid. Snoke should have been his own guy. He also said he was Vader the whole time. He was more so speaking from a symbolic standpoint when he said, I run everything. I am the Sith. If you want to find me someone who personifies the Sith more than Darth Sidious, go ahead.
Yeah, like what people don't understand is the symbolism in Star Wars. When Darth Sidious' rise to power came through politics. And politics is kind of like what they say, history isn't written by losers, it's written by winners. You know, so they can decide how you hear everything. When he says, I'm every voice you've ever heard, he's telling Kylo that he's literally, like, Kylo's perception on everything is what it is because of Palpatine. That's what Palpatine's telling him. He's written Kylo, what Kylo perceives as history is what Palpatine has decided him to see. And Kylo decides to see through that and emerge as a different character by the end of the film. But Palpatine came back. I mean, there's going to be people in the comments, oh, technically it was Darth Bane. You know, like, yeah, let's bring Darth Bane back from, like, who knows how long ago. Okay, buddy. But, yeah, Palpatine started it, and it's nice that it ends with Palpatine. It should end that way.
Yeah, and Kylo wasn't a villain by the end of Last Jedi. He was more of a neutral party. And one thing I pointed out to Cyber, don't know if I pointed this out to UGB, but the whole movie, Kylo never refers to himself as a Sith or working for the Sith. He states he uses the dark side.
Yeah.
And I think that was intentional. Because Kylo's done with operating there's always going to be two sides to the Force, yin and yang, light and dark. But as far as the parties on each side, he didn't feel he had to be bound to.
Yeah, and the whole purpose of Kylo's character, right? And here's what I've come to realize, and I think it should be said, is that the whole purpose of Kylo's character is to be comfortable acknowledging that somebody who serves the dark side can be not a villain, doesn't have to be a villain, but more so that they can come back from that. And if you like Kylo for that reason, you should in turn like Rey to a certain extent, because nobody has to fight the dark side harder than Rey does. She's literally a Palpatine. So by the end
and
of the
I forgot who said it to her, but someone's told her, "Your name's not everything. Blood's not everything."
I think that was Poe. No, I think that was either Leia or
It might have been Luke, his Force ghost, when he explained Leia knew you're a Palpatine.
Yeah, because like it's just like nobody has to come back from the dark side harder than Rey does. So if you like Kylo for coming back from the dark side, tasting those waters, and then stepping out, being his own character, you should like Rey too. That's exactly Rey's story, is that she's been fighting this darkness the whole time. And literally Luke says it in Last Jedi, and as hated as that movie is, Luke says it, you saw the dark side and you ran to it. It's because it was in her nature. It's in her blood to do it. So she becomes her own character at the end of the film, which is also good.
Yeah, I definitely thought she got this was the best Rey we saw.
Yeah.
Because we actually got to see her struggle with the idea of power. Before, so it was just she had random power, but then we gave this power an identity, and that identity came with a lot of strings attached.
She has more
and there was only
than Padme.
And the one dude that was not afraid of that was Kylo, and Kylo's the one that shaped that whole storyline. Another thing I want to bring up, if people argue this in the comment section, is, if Kylo's so strong, why didn't he immediately pull up on Sidious? Because Kylo is a great debater, and let me tell you why. Because Kylo debated Sidious when he pulled up and said, "Why shouldn't I kill you?" Sidious said, "Hey, dummy, I've already died before. I've learned Sith ways that lets me overcome my death." So killing Sidious by the flesh at that point would have been useless. So instead of doing that, he decided to try to find out what the end game was by going after Rey.
Yeah, exactly.
And he gets a whole bunch of free stuff while he does it.
Yeah, he gets like a whole contributed destruction of, but.
And what made it great too is never once was Kylo like afraid of Sidious. And
this is just another day in the office for Kylo.
Yeah, and what made it awesome was when he gets thrown away by Sidious. Sidious like voices this. He's like, "Yo, you're a damn Skywalker. At the end of the day, you people, you you were supposed to be the bag, but you're just really annoying." And he's like, "Hopefully this is the end of that," and tries to like get rid of him. But that just proved like Kylo the whole movie, and what made it great was he was clear, concise on what he wanted to do. At one point, the only time he faltered, it was really just because he lost Leia, who he never wanted to lose. It was obviously shown in Last Jedi when he refused to shoot her. And he just didn't know if he had the internal strength to go through, save Rey, and stop all the madness.
Mm-hmm.
And the way to do that would be turn away from the dark side. Or at the very least, use something other than the dark side. And you can understand why that was a struggle for him, because that's what got him there. That's what put him in the position to succeed, was the dark side.
Yeah. I mean,
so like Kylo, A+ for that movie for sure.
I mean, Kylo as a character overall, just A+. possible S tier, honestly. I would, you would have to tell me a character that compared to Kylo has lived out their destiny better than Kylo, or accomplished their goals to the extent of Kylo. It damn sure wasn't Luke, because every time he opens up a Jedi Academy, people die. So I don't want to hear Luke.
And then like the thing with Rey at the end when she says she's a Skywalker is just to reemphasize that blood doesn't mean your name. Blood doesn't mean your legacy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
I'd change my name too. Why are people mad? Why would she want Palpatine as a last name? That's like such an absurd thing to be mad about. That's like being like Jeffrey Dahmer's like daughter or something. Why would you change your name? I don't know.
It's like that History Channel show, Finding Hitler's Kids or whatever.
Yeah, like if anyone has the right to change their last name, it's gonna be someone like Space Hitler. Like, come on. But anyways, yeah, I thought the movie was great. Thank you guys for sticking with this complete breakdown. If you want another Kylo scale, maybe we'll work on that. Kylo secured the bag. I thought the movie was really good. Compared to the other Star Wars movies. Yeah, like, compared to the other Star Wars movie, I think it's upper class, regardless of what critics say. It's one of the most fun Star Wars movies I've ever seen. Solo was very fun. Had a lot of Solo vibes to it. I personally liked Solo. I think GB did too. So
yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. So any last words, GB?
Pretty much everything.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all later.